Imagine paying for a game with your hard-earned money, only for it to vanish forever. No refund, no disc, no way to play. That's the reality of 34% of games that require an internet connection to play, and another 37% are at risk of becoming unplayable. Over the years, many popular games that rely on online servers have been shut down by studios due to reasons like server costs or declining revenue, and the people who bought those games were left with nothing. One of the biggest examples is The Crew, a racing game made by Ubisoft that was shut down in 2024. Even the single player mode became unplayable because it required server side authorization from Ubisoft. So, Ross Scott, a YouTuber and game commentator, launched a petition called Stop Killing Games. After seeing how the crew was effectively rented instead of sold, Ross argued if you can't play a game you paid for, then you didn't really buy it, you rented it. The movement argues that games people pay for shouldn't be destroyed when server support ends. The petition asks governments to require publishers to leave games in a playable state, even after shutdowns, ideally with some kind of end of life plan, a patch, a local server handoff, or something that makes the game runnable with no further support from the company being necessary. But can the European Union actually make that happen? Well, I'm not a citizen of the EU, but from what I have learned, any EU citizen can start a European Citizens Initiative (ECI) to ask the European Commission to create a new law. But for the Commission to take it seriously, the ECI needs to collect at least 1 million valid signatures from people in at least 7 different EU countries. At the time I am recording this, the petition has already crossed 1.2 million signatures. The goal is to hit 1.4 million by July 31st to cover any invalid entries. If it passes that threshold, the EU Commission is required to meet with the organizers, hold a public hearing, and provide a formal response. They don't have to create a law, but they have to explain why if they refuse. So yeah, this EU mechanism is more powerful than a simple change.org petition. It's a real legal process, a path to actual lawmaking. And because of that, a lot of game publishers aren't happy about it. Video Games Europe, a trade group representing big publishers like Ubisoft, Nintendo, and EA, issued a statement. They acknowledged the passion behind the petition but said shutting down servers is a complex decision, usually made when a game is no longer commercially viable. They also said private or community servers aren't always safe or legal due to privacy issues, and mandating offline support will mean extra work for developers at the very end of game's life, when it's already not making money. That, they say, could lead to fewer games being made or higher prices for everyone. On top of that, there's third-party stuff like licensed music or tech that publishers legally can't just give away. Releasing tools or offline patches could lead to copyright issues or even lawsuits. But here's the counterpoint. If that's the case, then games should be clearly labeled as online only or sold with an expiration date. Players deserve to know what they are getting, and honestly, tons of older games like Mario Kart DS can still be played locally today even after their online servers went down. So it's technically possible to save the game. As an indie dev and a gamer myself, I honestly support this petition because, look, I don't want to lose my games, especially the games that also have single player mode. If you're shutting down multiplayer servers, fine, I get it. But that shouldn't be used as an excuse to shut down single player too. Just look at The Crew by Ubisoft. When they pulled the plug, even the solo mode stopped working. That's not cool at all. But not every company does that. For example, when Sony shut down Gran Turismo Sport, they actually released a final patch that made the game playable offline. That's the kind of thing more studios should do. Give us a way to keep playing. And let's talk about multiplayer games. I think, if possible, most of them should support LAN or local co-op. That way, players can keep playing together without needing official servers. And if the community still cares, let them host it, let them keep it alive. That way, the studio doesn't have to spend more money maintaining it, and the game doesn't just vanish overnight. Now, making a law for this stuff is very complicated. Even if something does get passed in the EU, it's not going to be perfect right away. There will be flaws, there will be revisions, and yeah, there's also the indie side of things. AAA studios, they can handle extra rules, they've got budgets. But for small devs like me, if I made a game that only works online, being forced to add offline mode could be a huge struggle. That said, most indie games don't go online anyway because maintaining servers is expensive, and right now I can't think of any indie game that requires an internet connection all the time. If you know one, tell me in the comments. And if a publisher or developer knows that a game will die someday, just be honest about it. Tell people upfront, or even better, replace the purchase button with rent or subscribe. Because buying should mean owning, not renting with a surprise expiration date. When people feel confident that the games they buy won't just disappear, they are more likely to support devs and actually buy games. But if companies keep killing games whenever they feel like it, more people are going to start sailing the high seas. And honestly, nobody wins when that happens. So, if you're in the EU and you care about this, check out Stop Killing Games petition. It's crossed over 1 million signatures, but the more voices, the better.